All right, so I don't know. I'm doing this with a mic for the first time, so if anyone comes to join on and can't hear, just let me know and I'll pop it out. I'll just use my phone for it. But basically, I am doing the same thing I always do whenever I do go live, which is literally going to be repairing arrows, cleaning arrows, and just getting ready for the next thing. Of everything I do on my channel, by far, the amount of time spent caring for arrows is the biggest labor of love, bar none. But like I said, if you guys can't, hey, what's up? If you guys can or can't hear me well, let me know because I'm doing it with a mic. I've never done a live thing with mic before. So I just want to double check and make sure. Not that I do these often, nor do I plan to do these often. What's up, guys? But it'd be good to know if you guys can't hear me. So yeah, no, it's been fun. I've actually really been enjoying mixing it up quite a bit because earlier in the channel, when it was all just archery stuff, um, I was running out of arrows so quickly, and it was such an expensive endeavor just to constantly be hitting hard targets. But now that it's mixed up and I've been able to get more stuff and more toys, so to speak, it has not been as bad. The way I do my lives basically is just kind of go through my thing, and then I just kind of feed off conversations that you guys have. They've basically gone from, medieval to Warhammer to Star Wars, video games, movies, etc. I really have no set agenda with any of these. I just kind of treat it like a conversation amongst friends. So if there's anything you guys want to know or want to ask, I'm happy to just legitimately have a fun conversation here. And so just kind of let me know if there's anything you want. But if not, this is just going to be the way that I'm going. I'll just talk about the kind of other things that I have planned next for the channel. What do I do for a living? So my wife and I, we've actually worked in real estate for quite some time. So that's the main source of income. Thanks, I'm glad you like them. And we also have been able to acquire rentals and properties and things like that. And so that's how we have our passive income along with like other investments and things like that. You know, what sauce do you prefer for your sandwich? So that's the income. As far as sandwiches, I don't eat bread all that much. I know that's kind of like a very trendy thing, but I've found that staying away from that is helpful to me. But if I'm gonna use something, it's gonna be mayonnaise. I really enjoy mayonnaise. I hate mustard. I wish I liked it because it's like a really good low calorie alternative, you know? But I've just never really been able to get my head wrapped around that, everything like that. To train for bow shooting, what exercise? So I don't actually lift weights, any specific weights to train for the bow. I do back exercises and shoulder exercises, and I try to hit accessory muscles that I think take a lot of stress and strain in it. I feel like the things that start to collapse the most is in on the shoulder here, because the left I feel takes a big brunt of that. Because drawing it back, if you can't get it back, I don't think weights are going to help with that. But it's not. As for the movie stuff that I got to work on, February 27th is what I can actually discuss what I did. I've been talking with the production company and the production company and everything, and I kind of have an idea as what I'm going to put together with behind the scenes footage and everything. And so it's it's something that I have up, but I can't really talk about it yet, unfortunately. Hey, what's up? Good to see you guys. So that's going to be coming up very soon. Like I said, I have a rough draft up in there, and that'll be really fun to do. And they're going to basically, it's going to be releasing it like at the same time that they're going to do like a marketing push, I think. So I'm kind of just working with them as far as how that's going to work together. But it was really cool. There's a lot of behind the scenes stuff that I was able to get with the people that I was training and with the sets and with the props and everything that I was able to kind of have. And so I've sent that off to them. They said, that's all good. You can use all of that. That's not like anything that's outside of like proprietary, whatever. I don't know what the movie terminology is. But that's all stuff that can be done. How do I maintain my nutrition? Honestly, it's just something that kind of became natural after a while. I did it for a really long period of time. I wasn't super lean for a long time, and then about 5, 6 years ago, I really buckled down. It's just kind of become A habit. Gotten to use or acquire you would like to. All right, so I'm really excited about this. So if you guys have seen my stuff, you know that I'm like affiliated, so to speak, with Cult of Athena. Um, and basically, they have been able to send me stuff. Like they're really cool and they really enjoy the video and stuff that I do. So whenever I send them the link, they're like, oh, that was so much fun. And we loved it. So they're actually sending me a bunch of Celtic Bronze Age stuff. Loot. Yes, loot. Yeah, it's right. Loot. And here's Sir Gain's helmet as well. So he's here in spirit. Um, all loot. So I'm actually really excited because I am going to get some Bronze Age stuff, and I haven't been able to touch on the Celts yet. And so that's really cool because I do think that they're under the weaponry and on the culture itself is underappreciated, kind of gets brushed under, and like set together with a lot of stuff that the Romans conquered. Oh my gosh, Romans conquered. And so to have that and to talk about that warrior culture, I think is going. Oh yeah, this is a gnarly barb tip right here. These things are cool, but I use them very infrequently because even in hay, they're like impossible to get out. These barbed arrows, if this went into you, man, like that'd be the end of it. That's not coming out, you know. So those are scary. The Odysseus shot, yeah, I've thought about that one. And so it's kind of funny because I've actually researched that quite a bit in the past as far as what was meant by axe heads. And some people think there was like little triangular things in the axe on the head, and some people say it's actually the axe head that the wood goes into. So I'm not sure exactly. You know, historically, I've been trying to figure out exactly the best way to replicate that. It would be easier with like the axe heads, just like what actually affixes in, but 12 of those is going to be really difficult. So I've thought about just doing something with like cardboard, you know, but I don't think that has the same pizzazz if you're shooting through cardboard, because then if you miss, like there's no real like consequence for a miss, and I would probably lose some arrows for that. What kind of longsword? So this here, this is a hand and a half. This is one from Cold Steel. So it's a good sword. It's one of the ones I got a long time ago. This one's about, I don't know, when I got it, it was like 400 bucks, something like that. So not a super cheap sword, but a good sword. And I don't bring it out that much just because I like to use stuff that I feel like I'm trained in or have a good knowledge of. And so the swords, I've never trained HEMA or anything. And so I try to do it to the best of my ability. So stuff like the Warhammer and like the Kanabo and things, it's really just like a blunt force instrument. There's form and finesse to it, but I don't like to try to really showcase and make a decisive, like if I'm doing a weapons test, I don't like to try to say decisively this would work because I'm skilled in this stuff. You have people like Dequeedum and who are actually like trained and skilled in it, and I like to try to leave that to them. I know the bow, I know the sling, I know a few things. I know jiu-jitsu and grappling. Yeah, the jiu-jitsu, it's still taking a back seat at this time. I haven't trained consistently for probably 3 or 4 years in that. And so it's like I get some friends over every now and then and still roll and everything like that. Yeah, that's like a one I had in my boys' room. The Captain America is just like a cheap plastic one, you know. Shorts only. Oh, shorts only. Yeah. No, if you do the shorts, I honestly, the shorts have really fizzled out a lot. I really don't care about them anymore. I've kind of gotten over that. I think long form is a lot more fun. I started out with shorts, and those were fun, but I actually enjoy the kind of storytelling of the long form videos. So those I still kind of throw everything out there just as a trailer for the long form, but not something I'm going to really stick into, you know, for a long time. Yeah, the Gladius is fine. That's a cheaper one. The Spatha I have over there is actually really good. That's the most expensive sword I had from Albion. So the Gladius over here, that was one I got a long time ago from Cult of Athena, you know, and so it was just, it was like a cheaper one when I was just starting my collections and everything like that. And so I have a few of those relics here. The handle on that one was like welded together and it would crack, and so I had to try to weld it back together. So that one, for impact ones, the vibrations shake the pummel apart quite a bit, so it's not good for contacts. The Gladius, I don't know if he's talking about this one here. This was one of the ones I got a while ago. So this is the Gladius here. But the problem with this is right here, when they soldered that together, this is hollow. So when it strikes, what happens is if it hits a solid object, this vibrates apart right here. And so that actually like opens up. So I've had to like re-weld it together. You should reach out to him. I would love to reach out to Metatron. I did kind of like an address to like thank him and everything like that. And I don't know how to contact him directly. I'd love to talk to him, more and do, if he had any questions about historical parameters and testing, I'd love to try and do something that he would be interested in seeing, because I have some good stuff and I have some good quality armor and equipment that would be reticent at the time. And I think really when I get the Celtic sword and the Bronze Age stuff, I'm very, very excited about that. Traditional bow. Yeah, I did something like that early on the channel, but it's been so long and, stuff gets pushed to the bottom of the feed. I'm thinking I might do an early, just like getting started in traditional archery, aiming in traditional archery and things like that. Tried using a cross stick as a weapon. No, I never have. I have an atlatl up there. That's the oldest, the oldest weapon I have is the atlatl. I guess technically a spear, but I have like a steel head on it. But then the sling is the other one that I use, but I've never used anything like a throwing stick or anything like that. What do you do for upper body cardio? I don't really do upper body cardio. I would say everything I do is cycling. All of my cardio is continuous cycling, basically. That's the only thing that I do, is I really enjoy that. So I do that probably about 7.5 hours a week. So an hour and a half a day, first thing in the morning, and I just stick with that. So I don't worry about, I'm not a good person to talk to necessarily for weightlifting advice, because I just do what I do, but it's not like deeply scientifically based. I just got here. Where did you get that long sword? That was one from Cold Steel, actually. So I got that probably about 6, 7, 8 years ago, something like that. It's still really sharp. It holds an edge well, and so that's one that's been kind of in the arsenal for quite some time. And like I said, I bring it out every now and then. Yeah, that's a Captain America shield in the back. That's one I got for my kiddos a while ago, and I had it in their room, and they were like, they were not kind of over it at the time, so I just have it in the garage now. Rock a sling. I don't crossbeat. Yeah, I don't know if a sling is. Slings are insane. Like, they're one of the craziest things that I can really think of, just as far as devastating impact. If you do it right, they are really crazy. Built with something to stop vibration. Have you ever taken part in a Ren Fair? So, Ren Fair, like, that is something that's really outside of the comfort zone of what I normally do. Like, I do all this stuff in the back, right? I've never really shared it with anyone. Like, most of my friends didn't know I was really into it. I just kind of kept it all, and then I started doing stuff online. And so not long ago, Felon Fair reached out to me, and I did their one thing, War of the Barons, for the first time last year in February, where it's like a huge, Ren Fair LARPing thing. And I had a good time. They were really cool people. And I'm doing that again this end of February as well. And so it's, no, I know, that's the funny thing. It's like, I think that the funny thing, because a lot of people that like were friends of mine or went to school with me, like, dude, are you Dash Rendar? And I'm like, oh God. Because I kept that part of my life so separate, because the internet feels like this, like, you just kind of throw it out into the ether a lot of times, I guess, And so, whetstone, sandstone, how do you sharpen your blades? So it depends on the thing that I'm using. So if I'm doing like these bodkin tips or anything like that, it's just going to be something like this. I'll just use a stone, wet stone, because like, the edge doesn't really matter that much for me. Um, and so I feel like these are fine. If I'm doing it with a actual blade, I'll use a finer stone, and that's how I do it. And then if I'm doing something like bulky, like if I'm doing the Warhammer, I'll just use a grindstone just to get most of it grinded down, and then from there, um, I'll just get a little bit more of an edge on it. But those are just like really heavy duty. Yeah, yeah, that's kind of how that's how I feel, and so now everyone kind of knows, you know. A lot of I just did like my um, 20, 15-year reunion for high school. I forget what it was, but everyone. I had a lot of people come up to me at that, and they're like, "Dude, are you like doing social media stuff now?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, I am. It's awkward. I'm still very awkward about it in person, you know." And so it's just funny because I think the people online, you know, you guys know that part of me, but no one else knew that was like really a passion or a hobby of mine or anything like that. I'm thankfully never harmed myself in any serious manner doing any of the stuff that I do. Um, never, never pulled anything or any strain like that. The only thing I've ever had is just neck injuries and things like that, just from the shoulder and everything like that. Dress up, family. Oh man, I in the War of the Barons thing that I'm going to, I'm a mercenary basically. So they talked the owner of Felon Fair reached out to me. He's like, hey, listen, we have this thing going on. We want to have these neutral barons, where basically you're able to do whatever you want. So I'm like the only baron that can have all archers in my arsenal or my crew, I guess. And so we're just like mercenaries for hire. So I just kind of ham it up as like the devil may care mercenary, you know? And so that was like the first time I got there, I was just so out of my depth. I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna legitimately have like, because they have mead there or beer, right? And I'm like, I'm gonna drink 6 of these right away and just get a good buzz going, and then I'm gonna have some fun. So I think that helped to break the inhibition for sure. My favorite sword is the Spatha that I have. I like that. I just because I like the length of it. I like that it's a little bit longer than a gladius, less of a thrusting sword. It's also the most expensive one that I have. That was like my big purchase one time that I got. You know, um, it was just you know, leaving love at first sight. When I met my wife, I really did. Yes, we met in college at Fresno State, and I still distinctly remember the first time I saw her, and I was just smitten, you know. And it's like that was it, you know. She actually approached me because I'm extremely shy, and I'd never had a girlfriend before because I was too dang shy. Like I honestly, I don't think, you know, on everything I do is like filmed and scripted and everything like that. But in reality, like I cannot just talk to people. I'm awful about it. And so she was able to break that shell for me. Have you? No, I've never tried that sword. So the newest ones that I'm getting, and I'm sorry if I'm repeating myself for people that are here, but Cult of Athena is where I've been getting my stuff, and they've been really generous and kind to start sending me weapons to test, just to have it done, you know. And I just kind of mentioned them and everything, and so they're going to be sending me some. They're going to be sending me some Bronze Age weapons from the Celtic. Besides YouTube, yeah, yeah. If I had to live off of the YouTube income, I would be on the street, and I couldn't definitely care for a family. No, yes, no. My wife and I, we both have worked in real estate for quite some time, and over those years, we've acquired rentals and other passive income and investments and things like that. So, you know, we've been able to do that, and so I have a little bit of freedom every now and then to make a video if I have time, but it's still very intermittent, you know, as far as the time that I have to actually film a video and put it together. It's like it's not a full-time gig, and I doubt it ever will be. I think it's far too niche of a thing. Like maybe if I was a, you know, successful fitness person or something, I think they make a lot of money, but I think it's pretty small, you know. Armor one day. Yeah, no, I mean I have the armor that I test. So there's some armor that I test that's just like a showpiece where I just want to see if it's a mild steel or something like that. Um, you know, we are passionate about or niche. Yeah, I'm extremely introverted. So if you missed that part, yeah, I'm in public and everything like that. I'm very anxious in social things. Like if I go out somewhere with my wife, she's a type A personality, very outgoing and everything like that. Um, and so you know, that's a very difficult thing for me to process, is being in public or being around people. It's just not my comfort zone. And so yeah, so I'm cleaning off the shafts, and then I'm just kind of getting the bodkins all set up and everything like that. And then I got a few arrows I'm going to try and triage and transfer some bodkins to everything like that, to fix a couple arrows. So that's the other thing I'm going to do today. But right now it's just kind of cleaning the ones that are in working order, and then from there I'm going to just try and fix about 3 more or something like that. Do you gamble poker? No, no, no. I've never gambled anything. I'll go and play roulette every now and then. My wife and I'll go to a casino and we'll play that, and I just have some numbers I play. But I guess the only thing I gamble on is whether or not the arrows are gonna break when I hit something. So in a way, yes. Like I guess, you know, hey, I'm good, man. Thanks for joining us, or me rather, or everyone here. Yeah, we're all part of the same crew, right? We're all hanging out. Um, but yeah, the biggest gambling I do is if I get a new weapon, is like, is it gonna break or blow up on me or anything like that, you know? And so it's not something that I do frequently. Someone asked how tall I am. I'm 5'11", so I missed the illustrious 6 foot by just a little bit. But you know, you can get a target for about $50. Yeah. And so yeah, so the next thing I got going on is I don't know if you guys saw the most recent video where I did the cow bone and everything. And so I got a few more of those because I thought that was really cool. So when someone was asking about the quality armor, I have a good patch of riveted mail, have the padded gambeson, and I have the hardened steel. So what I want to do is, you know, the idea that, you know, sword is useless against armor, I'm going to test that and the axe and things and see how it would affect a bone underneath all that, you know, all the armor, and if the sword would in fact do anything, you know, on a serious, strong, you know, direct, clear hit, and if an axe would even do anything as well, because I think the warhammer, or even the kanabu would absolutely shatter bone even underneath all of that. But I'm curious if like a heavier duty sword would do anything like that. Horse riding, I don't know horse riding. No, that's definitely a regret of mine. I would love to get into it one day, but unfortunately, that's not something I've had the time or the time to do necessarily yet. What do you taper your arrows? Can I just use it? So yeah, so if I'm tapering them, yeah, when that hammer hit that bone, that was nuts. So this time, I want to try and layer it more, and I want to try and get a better direct, and I want to set it up in a better way, so it's like on a shoulder spot with like the brigandine underneath it, so it's like a little bit of power in there. And so when I strike it, I want to see how that's going to work with quality armor, quality mail, and a padded gambeson. So I'm pretty excited about that. I think that'll be cool. And so that's like the next video I have in my head. I'm trying to get that put together when I have some time. Maybe this weekend, I'm not sure. You know, what meal that your wife makes for you is my favorite. I actually do all the cooking in the house, to be honest, because I got very particular about diet, and so I got very creative with cooking meals and things like that. So I actually do just about all of that, you know. Are you gonna use a sling in the armored bone testing? That would be another video. Like the sling videos, um, I try to do one at a time, and so I really try and make sure I get it. The one thing I have on the next thing, so the sling's up there, and then I've been kind of customizing. This is for the 100-pound compound bow that I have. So I've been customizing and like filing down some, basically I'm making bodkins for it. So this is like a really high quality steel that was sent to me by Bishop Archery. And so I'm actually making these as well. So I want to have like a more a more tailored bodkin against those with a 100-pound compound, because as you guys have seen, it goes faster, it's more powerful. These weigh about the same as the warbow arrows that I shoot. And so that'll be really interesting to see, you know. Um, um, did anyone to know? No, I haven't found anyone who's that I know in the area that's into medieval combat. You know, get 100-pound super recurve. I have the recurve right there up behind me. That's the Despot. That's 135 at 28. So it's like if I get to like 30, it's close to 150. So it's pretty good, you know. And that's the heaviest one I have right now. I know that there's very specific, like, you know, the modern arrows I've seen. Yeah, so I think that'll be really cool because these are the other ones that I had, and I mean, these are really impressive tips. I mean, the fact they were able to go through the hardened steel and everything was great, but they're not really made for armor piercing, so I'm really trying to make um, very specific, more bodkin type tips for that to see how it would perform. And so I think that would be a really cool way to do that. Shooting trick shooting with a bow. So for me, trick shooting is really cool, and there's people that can do it amazingly. But like when I do it, every time I pull a bow, it's like maximum effort, and so there's not really a an opportunity in the gapping there for me to trick shoot necessarily. It's literally just about like getting it back and then aiming it and letting it go. So there's no time for me to try and get fancy necessarily. And so it's just a matter of doing it's just pulling the bow back. That's the struggle for me, you know. When did you start? I got into it in high school, I guess. And so I got into it after I read Lord of the Rings. I think in junior high was when I read that, and then I just kind of went down a rabbit hole about archery, and I read about the English archers around that time and how they did 150 pounds and how it would change their spine and it would, you know, completely change the way that they their anatomy and physiology went. And I'm like, that's really crazy interesting, and that became a goal for me when I was young. Is I want to try and get to 150 pounds, and so it was just that just became an obsession for me. I wanted to see, and that was for everything. Where it was like for the sling, I remember reading about Balearic slingers and like I want to see if I can learn to use a sling. So it was really just learning about times in history and warriors in history that I was passionate about, and it was some things that I could do on my own, right? So I was always interested in swordplay, but that's something you had to do with people to get good at, right? It's like martial arts, like jujitsu. Like I could learn to do jujitsu on my own. Like they had those online blue belts for a while from the Gracie Academy, but like you go into someone you roll with them, they're not going to do anything. So it was the same for me with like actually. I just was like I didn't really have the confidence to go and actually try to learn it because I was just, you know, like I said, awkward. So I wanted to do stuff I could learn on my own, and so that's kind of where I went to. I don't know if there's one nearby. Like I said, this is something that I do on my own as well. Like I really like my circle of people that I connect with about medieval stuff has all been online. No one around me necessarily like does this, or I've never reached out to people around me because I just do it kind of on my own. The only person I've met with and done it is Art or Fit from Home, and he was just someone who's like a really cool guy. He reached out to me. He's like, "Hey man, this is cool stuff. I'd love to do it with you." I'm like, "Great, come on out. Let's do it." You know. So yeah, Ranger stats obsessed with, yeah, the hair, yeah. So the hair, this has been about almost 2 years, 2.5 years, I think. So this is by far the longest it's ever been. It's a point of contention between my wife and I, but we met and I had long hair, not this long. Her one stipulation is like, she's just like, listen, I get it, you got your thing, but your hair just cannot be longer than mine. That is the one parameter that I have for you. It cannot exceed the length of my hair. I'm like, all right, that's something I can get behind, you know. That's fine. And that was just how it went. Do you allow yourself to eat in a week? I'm not near as strict as I used to be. A few years ago, I was extremely obsessed with diet, and I don't know, I think if you look back even just like 3 years ago when I was doing all those shorts and it was all, you know, much shirtless, and I've steered away from that to the best of my ability. You know, that was kind of like a jumping off point, and now I like the costumes and the pageantry and everything like that. But I was really strict then, and that was like once every 2 weeks I would have one meal, you know, and that was just not sustainable. I think for a healthy and happy life, I think it was getting in the way of, you know, just fun times with my wife. And so now I probably have like one a week or something like that, maybe two. So I get a little more out there, and I eat out with my wife, you know, a little bit more every Thursday. We have like a date day or a date night, and I don't really care about what I eat at that time. So that's when I kind of have a little bit more fun, have some drinks, have some beer and everything like that. So yeah. Favorite movie is an extremely difficult question. I think that really is difficult to answer. Gosh, I feel like if I would just think of the one that pops into my hand, that was like one that I think really formed like at a very impressionable time in my life, was probably Gladiator. You know, is that one. I think for some reason, like, well, not, it's a fantastic movie for sure, but I think I saw that when I was like in high school, maybe a freshman. I don't remember exactly when, but that one just really stuck with me. And that was probably the one that I think, if I think of a movie, if I could just put one on, the soundtrack and everything about it, like it's just magical, you know. It holds up so well, and I enjoy the acting and the sets and the lack of like CGI and everything. It was just very large scale, large budget. The kind of reminded me like a Ben-Hur or the older movies where they really had, you know, bigger set pieces and they couldn't do stuff in post. And it's like, all right, we got a forest to burn. We got, you know, 10,000 acres. We have a giant scene. We have a great soundtrack, and let's just make it happen, you know. I have not seen the second Gladiator movie, and I have no desire to. And like, I think Strength and Honor, yes. And I think that I never thought that like a movie could like ruin the experience of another one. But when I saw like The Last Jedi, and I don't want to get like off on a negative tangent or anything, but just the way that they portrayed Luke in that movie and everything is, I think I was like, wow, maybe it can actually affect the way I feel about something, you know? So I have no desire to see it because I don't want it to taint the memory of, I think, something that was once extremely special to me, or still is extremely special to me, let's say. So no, I have no plans to see Gladiator 2, and I'm happy just to kind of live in ignorance about it, you know? So that's just kind of, you know, that's just the way I do it at this point in life, where it's like if I don't have as much time, having 3 kids, and you know, a lot of movies that I see in the theater now are kids movie, you know, I will say the Sonic trilogy so far has been fantastic. I've been loving that, you know, I like that. I feel like so, So the loudest kid. They're all loud, man. You know, I think literally like the house every day is just nonstop screaming from up to down, happy screaming, but they're all boys, you know, and so it's just they are absolutely wild little maniacs, and I love it, but it's never quiet, so I can't get rid of the loudest kid because they're all the loudest kid. It is just never silent, but it's fun just having adventures and things like that. You know, there's a lot of fun to be had. So it's great, and time is less now, but it's all good. You know, it doesn't matter necessarily that there's less time to play video games and things. It's just the stages of life, I guess, right? You know, that's what I know, right? Marvel character. He was okay. Why is Deadpool? No, I'm one of those very cliche guys because in high school I was, you know, kind of like not super social and everything, and so I did read a lot of comics and Wolverine. You know, it's like everybody loves Wolverine, right? It's like, oh my gosh, when people say Wolverine, it's like, okay, okay, sure, you're like a, you know, just a passerby of comics, but that's the one that I enjoyed the most, and I just felt like, you know, I just kind of kept to myself and just kind of that quiet. I enjoyed being outdoors and everything like that, so I really felt like that was the one I resonated with most. And then um, next to him, I mean, this is all in that, you know. Um, oh, thanks. Oh, that's fantastic. Oh, there you are, Logan. Right on, man. Or James Howlett, let's say. But yeah, no, I really just enjoyed his character and you know just the devil may care thing because that was like very counter to what I was. You know, he had that swagger. You know, and I wasn't someone with swaggers. You know, like so I thought that was a very cool um, kind of personality trait and everything. But I was most like, if I mean, like, if I was like anyone, I'm like Cyclops because I was just like a very rigid, by the book, straight edge. Like I had none of that swagger. You know, I was just the guy who was like always trying to do the right thing and you know the nice thing and everything. So I liked Wolverine, but I would say I was nothing like him. You know. Um, Spider Bear. No, no, I don't know that one. I'm sorry. I don't know that variant. No, so I'm sorry. I can't help you there. I'm a little bit out of the scene. And I had a small a small amount of books that I got into and stories that I read and that I followed. I mean, comic collecting is so expensive. Like I have a bunch of them. Oh, you can't see them. Sorry. I have all my collection up here and all over, but um, nobody deserves to be Cyclops. Come on, man. No, he's like he's this. Yeah. All right. All right. All right. Fair enough. Fair enough. Um, oh, that was funny. Oh man, what's up, my dude? I hope you had a good day at work. Yeah. So, where are we at here? Okay, we're all over the place. Oh my gosh, my streams are just so random, but I just kind of try to run with it as best possible. Um, Room tour. Did you play volleyball? No, I was not tall enough for volleyball at all. Um, I'm like I said, I'm 5'11". I can jump pretty good, but no, the only thing I actually did football, American football. I was always strong. I was always large framed and everything. So I actually did okay in that. I was like a fullback. So I was just like I've always been fast and I've always been relatively strong, and so I was good at running in a straight line. That's all I could really do was just go straight, you know. And then like wrestling and stuff like that too. That I enjoyed as well. And then from there I went on to jujitsu because no one really wrestles after high school anymore, you know. Um, and so yeah, but not anything that required a lot of vertical height because that's not something I would do. Yeah, I was pretty good. Yeah, I think I did pretty good at it. I did like all stars and things like that, but I never like did the football thing, right? If you think of like American football and it's like, all right, you know, parties and things. I just kind of did it. I did my thing. Um, and then I just kind of was done, you know. Can't stay long. Yeah, so there's a couple behind me. These are cheaper ones here, so these aren't super great. These are some of the first ones. The really nice one I have. Oh, oh. This is the nicest sword I have. This is the Spatha. So this is actually from Albion. I don't know if you can see the little A right there. I don't know how the quality of this looks like, but this is the one that's actually really nice here. So this one I break out for, like, this is the fine china. So if I want to do something with it, like, this is the coolest one, you know. For that, it's got a great edge and it's made extremely well, you know. So this is like the pride and joy of the collection here, of like the melee weapons for sure. So this is my favorite. I care for this one quite greatly. The ones behind me, this one here is just a much cheaper one. This is one of the earlier swords I got here, and so this one is like not great, taking a lot of abuse, but it's good. So yeah, every now and then you gotta break out the good stuff, you know. Yeah, no, it's something where I'm very proud of it. People who know it know that it's something special, you know. And I remember ordering it, and I think that, like, for their orders, I think it was almost a year until I got it. Like, it was just I kept being like, loot, loot. Where's Sergey's helmet? Loot. It's loot time. And I just gotta say, because everyone here is, you know, I think you're all friends of the channel and everything. I've been so happy, and it's been so fun to share, like, the humor, I guess, part of it, and that everyone's like embraced the whole character thing. Because I think writing those scripts and everything is yeah, the Mall Ninja is one of the most fun parts, is like doing the intro into it, you know. And so I've been very happy that the people enjoy it and stick around. I think that it's like, it makes it a little more niche. I think that doesn't appeal to a lot of people. I know that, like, if I look at like the view time, it's like it drops and then ticks up against after the intro. But I think that's been one of the most fun developments that I've been able to do, is have a little bit more fun, you know. It just makes it so fun to try to script something out and write something out and then try and act it out and everything like that. You know, it's been great. So right now, I think, gosh, I gotta say, I think Sir Gaines prefers the Smashy Stick, because that one actually existed, like, historically. And again, you know, the accounts of whether or not how frequently it was used in actual battle is not necessarily sure, you know. But the Grand, the two-handed mace that I have, there's no real record of that actually existing. That's really just like a giant fantasy piece of steel. So I think he prefers that one, just because it's got a little bit more semblance of history in it and everything like that. Yeah, and that's cool. If you're here for the fast-moving rocks and the arrows and the blades, that's awesome. Like, if you skip through the intro, that's totally cool. It's just something I like to try to do to add a little more personality. And, you know, I think Smashy Stick, yes. Recent sub and my first live come across. Oh, cool. What's up, man? How you doing? Yeah, I don't, for the first time subs or people who are new, this is not a frequent thing. Like I don't know, as people saw, my wife's out of town and my kids are asleep, and I was gonna make arrows, and so I do these like once every couple months, you know. It's not a frequent thing, but I do enjoy them, and really it's just like a chat, you know. I enjoy talking to people who have the same interests and just working on my arrows, you know. How can you start making your arrows and whatnot? Well, first you got to find a good place to get the wood for it, the dowels for it. Well, you wouldn't want to get dowels. You want to make sure that the grain of the arrow. So when you get it, like if you go to a hardware store or anything like that, it's going to be like the grain of it usually tapers off to a side, and you need a straight grain for it, because when it's coming off, you want it to have that same flex, because if they're at a 45-degree angle, the arrow is going to go a little bit differently. So you got to get a good distributor for that. If you have a lighter bow, Three Rivers Archery is a good place to get it. They have wooden dowels, or wooden shafts, sorry, that go up to about 90 pounds. And so they're a lot thinner than these ones here. Obviously, these are war bow arrows, so they're 1/2 inch. So those are a lot thinner, and you can buy them, and um, they're basically set and ready to go. And those have glue-on tips, very easy. You just got to put the fletching on and then affix the arrowhead. So that's super simple to do. Yeah, that was so fun. DeQuedem is such a cool guy. I've been so fortunate to have met him and kind of chat with him as well. You know, hey, which is Trollo? Is a brigand or an actual soldier? I would say he's more of a, let's call him a brigand. I would say he's kind of a clueless brigand. They're all kind of clueless. I think the only characters that actually have any sort of intellect are the range characters, which I think says a lot about my preference. The Slinger and the Archer, Slinger Slam and Sexy Ranger. The next one I'm going to do is I'm going to have to think of something to do with the Celtic Warrior, because like I said, if you guys missed it, I'm getting Bronze Age weapons from Cult of Athena. So they're sending me a couple Bronze Age swords and spears. And so I need to have a good, Celtic Warrior name. So if you guys have any good ones that are coming, please be sure to let me know, you know, because that's going to be the next one. That's going to be the next character that's going to be jumping in there. And I'm trying to figure out how to make them different, because I feel like they're kind of running together there. And the accent's like, oh man, these are not that great. When I hear myself, I'm like, this is a pretty terrible accent. And so, any more plans with the 100-pound compound? Yes. So I don't know if you missed it early on, but this is the arrow from Bishop for it, and I've been making more bodkins, so I'm grinding them down to more of a bodkin tip. This head here is one they sent me. This is like a solid, high quality steel that they use. Vercingetorix, yes, Vercingetorix is good, but he's actually like a local, he's one of my favorite historical characters, so I don't want to actually name him after someone I admire. I think I did a video a while ago and I talked a little bit about him. I think he's truly noble, and I think he's like a great example of like, you know, that resistance against an unstoppable foe. So I want something more tongue-in-cheek, you know. So I think I gotta find something a little funnier there. I prefer the warbow. The recurve is better. Is a better bow, right? It's more efficient. Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one. Maybe I'll think of that one. Yeah. And so it's oh gosh, I lost my train of thought. But no, so as far as the warbow, the recurve, I like the warbow, the longbow, just because I've used it for longer, and I like the way that it feels, and the way I aim with it. And so that's always just been my go-to. You know, I know that the compound is a superior bow. I know when I test it and use it, it does fire faster, feet per second. It does go further, you know, and everything like that. So, like $7. Yeah. So these arrows here from Bishop. Just so you guys know, the guy from Bishop, I've kind of gotten chummy with him. You know, and I sent him the videos, and he loves them, and his family loves them, so we've been lucky. These arrows here, each of these arrows, the goat's foot steel arrow on the tip there, they're like $150 a pop, something like that. And so even these heads he sent me, they're like almost $200 a pop. So this is upper echelon of what you can do. These are rated for like Cape Buffalo and elephants. And so they are the strongest available modern arrows that you can possibly get. And so I've broken 2 of them, and he sent me like 6 of them. But these are the ones I have used against the hardened steel, against the shields, against everything. They are truly impressive, and so they are crazy, you know. And so I've been really fortunate, and that's the coolest thing about all of this is this was always just like a fun hobby for me, and like I was never in this like to make money. Like I said, I have a job and I have income and things, but like to meet people and get stuff to test that are excited about it, like that's all I really want from this channel, right? I'm not looking to garner, you know, like be the next Mr. Beast or whatever, or even like bigger names like Metatron or anything. Like that's not a big thing. It's like if I can get cool stuff and share it and break it and test it, it is the best thing in the world. So I'm so excited about that. Yeah, no, I honestly I've been trying to. So here's the one thing, and I don't know if anyone can help me with this. I've been trying to think about like with these arrows, right? With these arrows and with that 100 compound bow, like I've been trying to think of a way to replicate like the thickness of what a dragon scale would be and dragon bone and be like, could these be smog killers? And I think that'd be a really fun video to try and do because you know the movie Hobbit, that was the worst. It was the worst way that could have gone with that stupid bow between the like two towers or anything like that. And so I thought that would be really cool to figure. Okay, so like let's say Smaug had like a scale thickness of like, you know, 2 3 inches, right? And it was like this type of toughness and everything. I think that would be such a fun thing to do. Balearic slingers, please continue to revisit weapons. Oh no, no, 100%. Like I got a few staples that I always do, but the big thing is I just don't want to try. I don't want to repeat a lot of stuff over and over. Um, it's like the sling is amazing, but I've done a lot of testing with it, and I did a lot of it earlier in the channel as well. And so I really want to try and think of fun, unique things that I can do. And I also want to try and do it. Like the goal is always try to do it with something that's like historically analogous to what it would face. So like the shield I have, the Scutum, that's just like a prop shield, right? That's not going to do anything. That's just going to blow through that. And so like with the Lenothorax that I got, that was like 29 layers of glued linen and everything. That was a really fun test that I was able to do. The Roman armor I have is like 18 gauge, right? It's mild steel. The Roman legionnaire armor had like it was much more like it had a lot higher iron content, so it was harder. And so you know, split like the grain, so about 2 inches on plate. That's splitting flesh pierce. Okay, all right, that's a good thought. Yes. All right, let me think. Yeah, I'll do more research about that. You know, I really want to try. I really want to try the Smaug one. I want to try the dragon killer bow. I think that'd be fun. You know, the rapier in the back, that was also from Cult of Athena, as well. So it's a cool rapier. It's sharp. It's a good one. Um, I've you know I don't really bring that out. I did fencing like in college for a little bit, but it was not something I did for a long time. So I have like some fundamentals of fencing in there. And so if I were to say sword play, that's the one I'm most schooled in, but that's still a very like rudimentary knowledge. Most of my you know most of my skill I feel is in the form of grappling because I've done that for a long time, which is why I feel more at home using the close, you know, the close proximity weapons where you close distance, like a warhammer or things like that, you know. Yeah, I agree with the point karate thing as well, and I think that for a lot of stuff with like HEMA and everything, aside from like Buhurt, and I'm sorry if that's not quite the right way to say it, you know, it's that's the one that draws me in the most. Like that's the one where like I would love to try and dive into that more because that feels very real, a lot more like jujitsu than like a point karate system, you know. Scary when you imagine armor grappling. Yeah, exactly. No, I agree. It really is because it's just it's a lot of damage that could come down. You know, have you done Muay Thai? No, no. I did American boxing for a bit when I was younger, like amateur stuff. So I have some striking knowledge, but like if I went in anywhere, I would get tuned up pretty quick. I have some basics there. I can protect my face a little bit. Protect my head with my face, probably. But that was something that I did for a bit as well. But I really didn't enjoy it as much as the grappling because it just get the nose broken a few times, and it's just like, oh, that's not that fun. And then like the cartilage still, like it's all a little out of whack there. If I wear sunglasses and stuff like that, they're a little funky because my nose has some crooks in it from getting smashed in a little bit. So that was not super great. Yeah, the Muay Thai is very cool, and I think that of the striking arts, if I were to say one I have a tremendous amount of respect for, it's definitely Thai, because especially like they take it, those guys go hard, man. Like it's nuts when they're throwing those knees, how crisp and how sharp they are. It's scary to me. That's an impressive thing. The elbows coming in, like it's such a sharp, like just everything about it is just so precise. It spooks me, definitely. No, I mean, hey, I mean, honestly, it's like I think the one thing that I try to always be humble about is that you go down the street, there's probably there's probably always a few guys who can just absolutely wreck you. I think that I'm a little too old to have like an ego, I think. And so I know my limitations. I know if I can get someone close and get him to the ground, I got a pretty good shot. But I don't see, I don't see myself, ever getting that situation. I'm just a little bit too chill to worry about that. But if I go into a gym with people who definitely train it hard and everything like that, you know. Yeah, that was from Cult of Athena. Yes, it was. So they were like, I've said it. I've said a little bit in the stream, and so again, I'm sorry if this gets repeated and everything. But I was fortunately, yeah, I don't pull guard. No, I like wrestling. So, like I love the single. I love the double. I love the foot sweeps. The whole thing. You know, I like the takedowns. I like that part of the game a lot more than pulling guard. Did you get a new helmet yet? No, not a new one. Actually recently I just talked to Cult of Athena. They're going to be sending me a new batch of stuff along with the Bronze Age stuff. They're actually sending me a new Great Helm. So it's going to be a 14 gauge mild steel. So it's going to be analogous to the one that I had. They have a spring steel helmet, which is like $800. And I'm like, oh, I'm not going to try and ask them for that at this time, but like 14 gauge great helmet's like 12 pounds of steel. It's thick. It's very very durable, and so I think that it should show well and at least give a good. I know that an arrow is not going to blow through it. The only arrow that actually went through that thing. Was the modern compound. So it definitely has held up over the test of time. So I think getting a new one of those is a good showpiece for a lot of the weaponry that I have, definitely. Oh, thanks so much, man. So glad you're enjoying it. So where are we at here? Sorry, sometimes things kind of keep coming. I lose my place. Throwing spear arrow slings against a daily prepared. Oh, that's a good idea. Huh. That'd be a fun idea. Yeah, like fortifications was never something I've actually did. That's a really good call. And I think that could be really fun to build up. That's a good idea, man. Yeah, let me do some research into that on how that would be the best setup. And That would be a fun way to kind of, help the kids do the dishes. Exactly. Um, that would be. Oh, you can help with the Celtic stuff. That'd be amazing. Yeah. So I got some Bronze Age stuff coming. Um, and so that's Bronze Age swords and things like that. So that's the next thing I'm going to do after I do the one probably sometime next week with the um, yeah, sensor against the walls. Yeah. No, that's a super fun idea. I got to figure out the best way to build up those fortifications. But yes, fought in. I mean, honestly, if I'm honest, I don't know if I really be keen to fight in many of them. Maybe one where I knew one side won. I think it would be great to be. I would love to be in like a full line of volleys. Would be so fun to do. I would love to just have 6,000 archers all loose, and I would love to hear what that would sound like as the arrows loose as they're going through the air and everything. It would be a really really fun thing. So I think anything like that with large scale archery battles would just be fascinating to be a part of. Guy with a hammer trying to break the wall. What is that sword behind you? Well, I got a few of them here. So this is a hand and a half here. This is a rapier here. And then this is my spatha here. So these are some of the ones that I have. I have two places where I storm. One is like another spot because I don't want everything in my garage here. So um, I got a few of them out there. That's going to be the long sacks, the Viking sword, and some other things out there. So I kind of have them split up, and then I bring them in here every now and then, just when it's time to polish and clean and work on them a little bit like that. For a Celt character, okay. Oh man, that'd be great. I really feel like I gotta try and do that one and practice that one to make it not sound like a complete fool. But I appreciate that very much. Thank you. Staff thing. All right. Well, good night to you, Steele, my friend. Take care. Yeah, this is like a cheap plastic one. I got it for the kiddos a while ago, and I had it in their room, and then they were like, oh, they weren't into it anymore. So I'm like, all right, I'll just bring it down to the garage. It looks cool, and so it's just hanging out there. I don't have a staff sling. No, I have plans for an idea to make one because they are pretty easy. So I have there's a lot of stuff. If I didn't have a job, I would love nothing more than just to spend all the time just making the things and doing the things. But it was just it's not, unfortunately, something that I have an inordinate amount of time for. Turkish bows, I think, are amazing. Historically, they are able to perform so well. They held so many records for the longest distance shot and everything, and they have a lot of different the horn bows and the composite bows. It's just insane to me the level of attention they get. It's just like a year and a half. I had a friend for a while who was a boyer, and he was talking about making them and going through the process and how long it takes in order to do that. It's really just a testament to the art of it. It's crazy to get that muscular. I would say I've always been larger in frame, but I had a lot of extra mass or fat, let's call it, like Mac. I'm tacking on lots of mass. If you guys watch Sunny in Philadelphia, and so I think that for me it was just leaning out is what took a long time in order for it to happen. So to get lean took probably about 2 or 3 years, but I had a very genetic strong base, I would say. So I think I got lucky in there. Yeah, the horn bows are really amazing, and the composite bows for sure. Cultivating mass, yeah, exactly. uh, um, did you really? Okay, so I've looked up a few ways to make, yeah, spoiler. No, it's fun. You are looking like an... Oh, thanks. Appreciate that. Yeah, this is the look. I kind of shaved a little bit of the beard a little bit, and I think that was because I'm planning the Celtic thing, and the look, like the Celtic look, was more of like the longer mustache and like the shorter beard, and so I want to try to have that look when I get that stuff, you know, cut at the this Sergey's cut at the squat. Yeah, Sergey skips legs day every day. I've never seen Sergey's do cardio or leg day, not a single one. And so I saw someone a bit ago asking about admin results. I've talked to him periodically just to check in, see how life's going and everything, but I don't have anything. Um, I don't have anything set up at this time. He kind of does his thing, and I do mine, and maybe one day we'll cross paths again. But it's a long drive for me to get to him. It's like a 9-hour drive, so those were amazing. I actually talked to him last year about seeing if I could borrow his crossbow. And he said, yeah, just give me, it's going to take me a while to send it and everything. So he, in some time, is going to ship that to me. And so that's going to be something that I'm going to probably try and bring out sometime soon when he has the time to send it. I'm not, everything like that. I don't know katana or ninja. As far as for swords, there's a lot of people out there who can help you more with that. I am much more into the range and the archery. I can't really say what the best one is, so don't necessarily, go to me for that one. So there's other people who can really give you good insight on that, but that's not my expertise, So I'm not the sword guy, I'm blunt damage and range for sure. Quarterstaff, that would be very fun. Yes, my age, I am turning 39. I am turning 40 in July, so I'm going to be 40 years old very, very soon. So that's coming up. So, I've got 120-pound bow. Whoa, that's amazing. That's really cool. Yeah, that's yeah, the Turkish Ottoman bows, horn bows. That's a great bow. That's exciting. That's really cool. Quick action or long bows. No, the Turkish bows are gonna be better for rapid fire, for everything. They're gonna basically. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. They're gonna outperform a longbow in basically every aspect of archery. You know, and so they're really a superior product, and they're a superior piece of technology, and they're amazing, definitely. In my garage is where I am. This is I have like a tandem garage, so this is like my little portion of the house over here where I store all my stuff and do all that. Yeah, if you're down to learn. Yeah, that'd be really cool. Yeah, I'd be down. Yeah, if you I would say if you want to reach out on uh, Facebook or email or something like that. So or Instagram. So just go to any of like the videos where I have like other social things, because YouTube, there's no way to really communicate. But if you reach out to me on that, I always try to respond. Like, I'm happy to do that. So I would love to do that. I'm always down to meet some cool people. And so yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, so it's getting, yeah, the age is creeping up, but I still don't feel it yet. That's great. So cardio. You mean the cardio? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, that's cardio's for poor people, for peasants who don't have horses. Why would a knightly pretend man at arms need all that? Good morning, everyone who's joining in from all over the place. Oh, honestly, like these are always so fun, and I always have this idea like I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna have a great live stream and get my arrows done. I clean my arrows. I don't think I'm gonna finish one by the time this is over. You know, Yeah, no, that's definitely one thing I've definitely felt is that doing doing the fitness has very much helped me to stave that off, especially getting older. And as you get older, you lose muscle mass. You know, everything like that's just happened. You know, on tertiary draw. I mean, the only thing I've schooled with and learned with is Mediterranean three finger draw. That's always kind of been, you know, it's just that's always been the one that I've done, and I've never taken the time to learn. I'm kind of a creature of habit, so if I learn one thing, I try to learn it very well, and so I haven't really gone much outside of what I normally do. Um, no, as far as quitting the job, I think YouTube is like, it's a super fun thing, but I love that I can look at it like a hobby. And just if a video doesn't perform well or whatever, it's like, it's not something I have to worry about, where I share it with people who enjoy it. But I feel like I see a lot of content creators nowadays who were larger channels back in the day who are really struggling now. And they're just like talking about the algorithm and how it doesn't favor their content anymore and all this stuff. I'm like, oh man, like if I had to live on that, that would be really stressful. But the fact that I get to do it and just push it out when I feel like I have a good video, and then if it does well, great, and if not, it's no big deal. It's just like it's a great way to have something to share with people. Like I said, I don't play golf, I don't fish. I like to break stuff with medieval weapons, and I get to share it online and get some of it for free. So it's been tons of fun to do it that way, and I really intend to keep it that way. I think I would never want to take that dive, and I also feel like anyone who does do that, like you have to start getting paid sponsorships and everything. And I put paid sponsorships on like the Cult of Athena videos because technically they're sending it for free. But I'm not getting like paid to do it. So I feel that it's like a good middle ground for me where I can enjoy it as something that's a fun passion and not a job. Because I feel like if I did it as a job, I would be very stressed out all the time. Golf grenades enemies? Really? That's hilarious. I was just showing off. That's awesome. Oh, that's so cool. I'm so glad he likes it. Like that's my favorite thing is, yeah, bow fishing exactly. I love when people are like, "Oh, I showed this to like my friend who's in the D&D or games," or one dad was like, "Oh, I'm homeschooling my son. I showed him the Peelum video and everything just to kind of talk about the difference in the weapons and technology." I'm like, "That is so cool." That's such a that's such a fun thing to hear, and that's just like those are the things that really make me happy. And if all of your characters discuss their workout routines and get to arguments over who's the best. Actually, that's a really good idea because it's been a long, long time since I've actually done a fitness video, and I dread the idea of doing a fitness video. But oh, I'm so glad you enjoy the skits. I think that's one of my favorite things. Yeah, the Pelam video, that was one of my highlights for sure. Seeing how it did against the riveted mail and even the Lenothorax versus the spear and the wooden shield. That's just I knew it would perform better, but to actually see it like real time, that's a very fun thing to actually experience because that's like a little bit of history you get to see as you're doing it, and that's something that's just that's the magic to me. No, I don't homeschool. My kids do go to a school. We do fun stuff here, and I teach them things here and there. Obviously, like you raise your kids at home, and that's the way that they raise. But oh, thank you so much. I'm so glad you enjoy them. About Eastern bows, blade, your recurve versus longbow. I did one of those in the past. I think I should revisit it because it's so funny. What's up, Russia? I think that that was one of my worst videos. It was like 8.5 minutes. The music was way too loud. It was so early in the channel. It was longbow versus recurve. I lost like half the footage because my graphics card or my memory card filled up. The draws weren't even full, and for some reason, that one is like one of the best performing videos I've done. And it's so funny how things work like that because it was just objectively a bad video, and everyone was like, it just got a lot of traction for some reason, but it was terrible. So that'd be fun to revisit now. I think I've gotten like that was like a year and a half ago, and I've really gotten the draws down a lot more, and that was just a bad day. So it would be fun to do, um, and revisit that. And so, maybe in the future, I got like 3 or 4 ideas ahead, for that. And Dequetum, yes. So we did his portion of it, and we have a script for what's my portion that's going to be next. But he's like he's had to take some time off. He's got at work, he's got family, he's everything like that. Um, and so I'm definitely going to. We have it scripted, I guess. So we have a part two or portion two that's actually going to go on my page. So that was one we did for hid page, and then we're going to do one for my page. But we still need to film all that and everything, and that'll probably be sometime in the next month or so, something like that. And so we have it for sure, um, as well. As far as Tolkien influenced the philosophical religious outlook and thing like that, I think that and sorry if we're switching gears dramatically here, his idea of a hero is something that I think that I definitely aspire to much more than any other, any other heroic thing. It's the idea. I think especially the Dunedain Rangers, um, and the idea that they were working in silent in the forest, um, is if you want to check out. So Andy, if you want to look at any of my videos on the bottom, if you want to do check on Instagram, there should be a link to it, and you can just message me there, and I'll respond right back to you. So just check that out, and I'll keep an eye out for it. And so I think that that's the one thing. The idea of the quiet, selfless hero who doesn't look for accolades or praise, and just Aragorn in general is, I think, like the true measure of what a hero would be. And so I think no, he's definitely the hero, but I think the idea of an unsung hero is something that is very much lost in a lot of modern ideology, where everything is done for show in a way, and I think that it's something that's more of a callback to like an older time where you did things for the yeah, exactly. You did things for the reason that they were good, not for the accolades that were associated with it. And I think that that is something that has stuck with me ever since I have been young. And that idea of the idea of doing things for the reason that they need to be done, regardless of or whether anyone knows about it. So that's something that I think definitely stuck with me. I think that also my father was a big part of that. My dad was just, he's not dead, but he's just a very honorable man who just doesn't ask for anything, puts his head down and works, and has been that kind of archetype for me as well. you know so that's that's the thing, and I think that that's just something that's stuck with me. That's, if I can push one thing onto my children, that would definitely be one of them for sure. Show videos. Have you had some of your martial arts moves? Wow, my eyes are a little blurry. Sorry. Are you, so I practiced, so back to that, I did jiu-jitsu for a really long time, and I did wrestling as well. So I got to purple belt in jiu-jitsu, and I wrestled for a long time as well. So every now and then, I try to bring out those moves when I can, because I think it adds a lot of fun and flavor to it. If it's something different, right? I think a lot of content, medieval content and weapons content and thing, it's all just, a slash and a strike and thing. And I think adding that little bit of the physicality of the grappling, of the takedowns, of the moves, really makes it a lot more engaging to see. Replicate video game weapons. Oh, that would be fun. Yeah, I definitely think when Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 comes out, February 4th, which I'm very excited for. I think that that's going to be something I would love to cover. I want to make it so it's not just like a gameplay or a react or a critique, because I don't like to be overly critical of anything, if I can help it. And I want to try and see how that game plays, and if there's anything I can glean from that to make to like an enjoyable video, right, where people can have fun with it, because that's always the goal. Is I want fun, positive stuff. I don't want to, just trash on something if I think that it wasn't, that great or anything like that. I can talk about everything in Greece on February 27th. I already kind of have a rough draft of the video together with the behind the scenes stuff and the training, of all the actors and all the sets and all the props that I was able to interact with and stuff like that. But I can't do that until that time I've talked to the production company and everything as well. And so they said that, like, I sent them that stuff and they kind of gave me some feedback, like, hey, maybe talk more about this and everything. But, that's everything. Good. Yeah. So, and also, I mean, ballistic dummies are cool. I've used a few, and I am extremely skeptical that that is the same resilience to damage as human bone. I feel like they are a lot more brittle. I feel like if I dropped one, it would, like, drop one on the concrete, it would crack. And obviously that wouldn't be good for a person, but I feel like it wouldn't crack the skull. But the ballistic dummies, I don't really think give a great look, you know? Yeah, and so I don't like to. I've used them before, but I don't really like it. So, like, the most recent one I did when I had the cow femur, I thought that was much more interesting to me, at least, because it's way more resilient. They don't fracture in the same way, and so I want to try and use that more and make it more of a. I think that's going to be a better way to showcase certain things. Um, and so they do look cool, and so they are gooey and they are very showy. But who has more, our Sergains or section range? Aura. I don't know. I don't know. Probably Ranger, I think, but Sergains would obviously disagree. But oh my gosh, all right. It's 10:20. I am going to go to bed. My eyes are getting blurry and I am old. So glad you guys enjoy it, and thank you for continuing to tag along and just making this such a fun, goofy experiment, no, experience, I meant to say. And so it's been fun. I look forward to doing it every time I get out there. It's just, I'm thrilled to share the videos whenever I can. So have a good night, my friends, and I will see you guys in the next video.